and damage characteristic of all blight grenades carried by friendly Death Guard units by one whilst within 3 inches of any biologist putrefier. In addition, each wound roll of a 6 plus with a blight grenade becomes a mortal wound in addition to any other damage. So, throwing those in with nothing but melee Death Guard Plague Marines, they've still got their grenades. They don't give that up when they switch over to a melee weapon. You get in close personal and throw a grenade and then just charge.
The Blight Racks, is it stacked with another putrefier?
That is a really good question, but I don't believe so.
Because what it says is, the wording is, all blight grenades carried by friendly Death Guard units by one whilst they are within 3 inches of any biologist putrefiers. So it's plural.
Oh, good eye, BJ.
Yeah,
good
so
eye.
I think they've been I'll give credit to GW. I think they've done a really good job of trying to make sure that there's no more, it's not A, it's any now.
Mm-hmm. They are definitely smarter with their wording, and I've only been playing their game for a year, and I can tell they definitely proofread.
They got burned really bad, in my opinion, by the Death Stars of 6th and 7th.
But yeah, to be honest, the Putrefier, he would be pretty good for that close combat army, but if you're on that shooty army, the Blight Spawn, the Putrefier, you don't really need them for a shooty army. These guys would be great stuck in a Rhino with a couple units of Plague Marines.
Yeah, they don't really enhance what you're trying to do with your army unless you're playing that melee army. Well, and the whole issue is by standard, you can only use one grenade per shooting phase. So you have to use the Blight Bombardment. So, anytime you have a unit, and its entire point is, I have to use a command stratagem in order for this to be effective, that kind of sucks. But he's only there to add that extra really big oomph of an attack. It's nice. I still think it's worth
Exactly.
But he is not your main focus.
The next guy, the Plague Surgeon, someone that's equipped with a Bale Sword, which is basically a cooler power sword that you get to reroll wound rolls on. They all have 3 attacks, 4 wounds, toughness 5, strength 4. His ability is to reroll any disgustingly resilient rolls of 1 made for friendly Death Guard infantry units within 3 inches of this model. He is basically a cheaper Necrocius the Undying from the Forge World Codex.
Big fan of the Plague Surgeons. Any kind of infantry-based Death Guard army, whether you use melee version, whether you use Poxwalker Zombie Horde, even if you want to do an assault, like just trudge up the field with a ton of standard Death Guard infantry, Plague Surgeons should be in your army. They should be a cornerstone. Their whole thing is you re-roll disgustingly resilient rolls of 1 made for friendly Death Guard infantry within X amount of inches. That lets you re-roll that 1. That's just so great.
Oh, yeah. So of the 5 elite choice characters, I feel like a lot of these are perfect for those melee-centric armies. Tallyman would be great for your Poxwalker Horde and the Plague Surgeon. So if you're looking for the Horde army, the must-haves are the Plague Surgeon and the Tallyman and the Blightbringer. Those 3 are a necessity, in my opinion. A stamped necessity. You would need them in your army.
In the Poxwalker army, I think the keys are the Plague Surgeon, yes, and the Tallyman. And the Blightbringer is definitely needed to get you up there faster. You're absolutely right. I think all 3 are necessary, needed things for a zombie horde-style army. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there before we go on to the next unit. So I think we've talked enough about the Fetid Bloat Drone.
So what we'll do now is we'll move to the Mystic Blight Hauler, which is another synergy for Horde armies.
Yeah, I think it's a solid unit. My only issue I ever have is that due to its 10 wounds, I don't know if it can categorize. Well, actually, I guess never mind. It wouldn't matter. 10 wounds with Disgustingly Resilient I think is fun. I think it does great damage. I think it's a solid unit for its price. I guess my only issue is I wish that they could be taken as squads. Because as a result, I run into an issue where I'm using all of my fast attack
on the Fetid Bloat Drone.
Right, yeah. I think, there's that official bang for your buck. Last time I was on here, I said bang for your buck a lot. So, and I think that's stamp approved bang for your buck right there for a bloat drone. And going back to the synergy, right, what we got next is the Mystic Blight Haulers. Now, what you're planning on doing, or what we're planning on talking about, BJ, is using the Blight Haulers as a screen with the Poxwalkers, so they give a cover save to the Poxwalkers. Now, the bad thing is with the cover save, the Poxwalkers, their natural save is 7-up. So you get a 6-up save if you pay the money for the blight haulers.
Now, it needs to be specified, this is one of the only ones, it affects Death Guard infantry, and they have to be entirely within 7 inches. It's one of the only times that it's not just within, it is entirely within 7 inches.
And I think the rough thing with that is you're going to a 6-up save. Anything that's -1 is going to negate that. You're losing 150 plus or 150 points because of someone's -1 AP.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, I'm not losing it. I still maintain it, of course, because until you destroy the Blight Hauler, it's still around.
Well,
but
yeah,
the Blight Hauler gives me some mobile shooting in an otherwise unshooting area of the field. And it's really, I can throw this in here for this style of thing, just to give it a little something. Because the ability to have 2 saves when I otherwise would have none, I think is a great trade-off.
Oh yeah. But is it worth 150 points?
Not solely for the cover, no, absolutely not. So there's 2 other units that are new to this codex. You've also got the Plague Burst Crawler. This is a unit that is a tank, demonic, so it's got that 5-up invulnerable save. Has a couple of new weapons. It's got an entropy cannon, it is a 36-inch range heavy 1 cannon. Doing strength 8, -4 AP with D6. Great for taking out heavy vehicles.
Now that's optional.
It is optional, absolutely. Its big gun is its Plague Burst Mortar, which is a plague weapon that can fire outside of line of sight 12 to 48 inches. Strength 8, D3 damage. That's fantastic if you throw any character back there you decide to make your Warlord. I laugh when I say that because that character is going to be your Warlord with the Arch Contaminator allowing you to re-roll failed wounds.
You know, and the cool thing about this, it's a Nurgle demon as well.
Yes.
So it'll get some benefits, and we'll go over that question later in the podcast. But the Plague Burst Crawler is, if you're making it a little bit more shooty, because the weird thing about the Plague Burst Mortar, the Plague Burst Crawler, is that it's equipped with plague spitters that are 9 inches when it has a mortar that's minimum distance is 12 inches. So most of the time, you're always going to go to the entropy cannons, which is a heavy one.
Yeah, I think the whole concept is it's here with the idea of being able to adapt.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll go to the centerpiece of the army quick, Mortarion. Best way to put it is he's a badass. It's simple as that. His movement, he has a damage bracket because he has 18 wounds. He's weapon skill 2-up, ballistic skill 2-up, strength 8, toughness 7. Of 18 wounds, 6 attacks in his first bracket, a leadership of 10, and a 3-up save. He's mean. 470 points, you better be mean. But 470 points, and you're thinking, damn, he might be too mean, you know. He is loaded to the teeth with ass whooping stuff. He destroys anything that's in his way if he's able to make it. And he definitely will be with a 4-up invuln save and that 5-up disgustingly resilient. I'll go over his pistols or his weapons quick. The Lantern, 18-inch range, pistol 1. Now the thing with this is it's strength 8, AP -3, 3 damage. So pistol 1, you're thinking this is kind of garbage. This is kind of trash. But he draws a straight line between him and his target. And the closest point on the target, and anything that's in that line, any enemy unit, he shoots at them too.
Well, I was going to say it's the old psychic power. I think there's a similar psychic power that Magnus has, where it's the Eye of Magnus, does a beam, basically, from the old 7th edition beams.
Next is Attendants, Claws, and Teeth. It's basically Nurglings that do strength 2, damage 1. It's an additional D6 attacks with this weapon. You'll always swing with this weapon whenever you have Mortarion. It's just a little fun that just shows that, you know, Mortarion's got his, you know, everyone loves a little Nurgling, you know, even Mortarion who names them Attendants.
Is BA.
So,
he is awesomely powerful in melee. That is what
next
he
up
is built for.
Would be
he
Silence,
is built
which is
to get up close and personal.
He has 2 different profiles for it. One is you make 3 hit rolls for each attack with this weapon. So you'd be looking at full wounds, 18 attacks, strength 8, -2, 1 damage, with a 2-up ballistic skill re-rolling, and mostly wounding on 2s re-rolling. It's mean. And, you know, BJ, there's another little special eviscerating blow here. That's strength times 2, AP -4, D6 damage. That's a plague weapon as well.
And you're getting 6 attacks. Yeah, which why do you need strength 2 or times 2 when you're already strength 8 and it doesn't degrade?
Now, this does D6 damage, though.
You know, my only complaint with Mortarion, and I really can't complain because I think he's still absolutely worth it, is I wish he had like a regeneration of 1 hit point, like Living Metal from the Necrons. And he's got neat little abilities like Host of Plagues where he does mortal wounds in melee.
I don't know if that's a nice little ability. That's
just because
a nasty
you're around him.
Ability. That thing is
Yep,
disgusting.
take some mortal wounds. And that's every fight phase, not just your turn. Oh, I think it's a nice little ability. My Mortarion's off at the painter now. Yep. Now, it is degrading, much like the Necron Monolith's Gateway of Exile or whatever. His Host of Plagues does degrade as he takes wounds, but it's a 4+ to start with for the first 50% of his life, so it's going to do great things. And, you know, you throw that in with some other abilities in the game, like I like if in the Poxwalker army, if the Poxwalkers catch to him, he uses his power, buffs them up, so now they gain because somebody died near him. You know, there's different ways he synergizes well with just about any build you make.
Yep, there's a reason why he's $140.
Yeah.
So he's the centerpiece of almost every Death Guard army. If you want a Death Guard army and want a good start and you got some money to spend, get Mortarion. It's simple as that.
Absolutely.
Kind of closing up here, we do have a question that was sent in by a fan, Morgan Fox. Should the Death Guard ally with demons? What are the pros and cons of doing so?
Well, and Tyler and I kind of have a slightly different opinion. I am not a big fan of allying demons with Death Guard. I mean, that's not to say no, but your demons shouldn't go in the same detachment. And I think Tyler and I are both in agreement on that. And that's because if you were to have a single detachment army, say a large battalion, you lose access to all the stratagems because your army no longer has the Death Guard keyword. You'd lose inexorable advance and none of your stratagems. Now, plague demons and whatnot, they can be great, allying cheaply with some different things, and you get some nice, cool, like, hey, I get to summon, and I can stratagem summon in my other detachment. Fantastic. And there's some positives to that. But I personally, I've already got a fairly cheap unit coming up with my Poxwalkers. So I don't really feel I needed them in my army, and it wasn't worth the thing. A Demon Prince, maybe. But a Demon Prince has the Death Guard keyword, so I don't mind him as much.
Yeah, you know, and I'm the exact opposite from him. In my opinion, kind of lean towards almost making out of this Codex, the Death Guard Codex, making a Nurgle demon army because of it. Because, to be honest, Morgan, you know, you look at Mortarion, right? And you look at a must-have for a Nurgle demon army, which is Epidemius. What Epidemius can do to every Nurgle demon, which would be Mortarion, Plague Crawler, Foated Bloat Drone, Mythic Bite Haulers, Plague Drones, all these new units that are that are Nurgle demons, get +1 toughness, +1 strength, +1 move, +1 attack. Whew, that's nasty. Now that's with killing more units, but in 2,000-point games, you're obviously going to kill units. So when you have something like that, where you would have a toughness 8 Mortarion running around, or a toughness 9 Plague Crawler running around, it's fantastic. And having the psychic powers from the Nurgle demons, where they're able to heal D3 wounds.
Yeah, all the vehicles.
On a roll of 6 up or something like that. For like Mortarion, for example, you know, you'll need to wipe the tear off your opponent as he wasted half his shots on such a resilient beast. And
sure,
to be honest, the Nurgle demons, if you can always add them as a detachment or for a Death Guard in the side, and it's perfect because if you have Nurglings that cause a screen that can deploy 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone, and that's perfect for like Hammer and Anvil. They are, in my opinion, a must. That adds a little diversity to your army and adds another thing that your opponent has to deal with. Nurglings are a must. Herald of Nurgle, if you run Mortarion, would be great. He's only 70 points, and he can heal D3 lost wounds on Mortarion with the psychic power, Fleshy Abundance. And I don't know. I love Nurgle Demons so much to the point where right now, while everything else is getting released or slowly trickling in for Death Guard, what I've been playing or what I'm going to still play is my Nurgle demons, and you know they